each other and go right at it here. So we start on page 13, opening song, Shalom Aleichem. I'm more of a traditional guy, so Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So as everybody knows, we start with lighting the candles. Ask Ruth to help us tonight again, please. And the blessings are on page 301-302, so to speak. And we'll give it to the best.
I don't usually do.
Whatever you wish.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. What is he doing behind my back?
Being a windbreaker.
So am I. Windstopper? No, oh yeah, that's a breaker. Oh, look at, you really did a good job. There you go.
Huh.
Ta-da! What did you like? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner, Shabbat Shalom. So I selected to go to the English side of page 19, Psalm 99 will read responsibly. I guess I start. Adonai is sovereign, nations tremble. God is enthroned on high, the very earth quivers. Adonai is great, and Zion exalted all over all peoples. Let them praise God, for God is awesome, holy. A sovereign mighty rules with a love of justice. You alone bring about equity, ordaining justice and compassion for the people of Jacob. Moses, Aaron, and Samuel, God's chosen ones, called out to Adonai, who answered them in a pillar of cloud. You responded to them with compassion, even as you rebuked them for their offenses. Page 21. I think everybody knows L'cha Dodi, and again, I'm traditional, so
Echadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem l'tiferet echila, L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lekrat Shabbat lechuvinelcha, Ki hi mikor habracha, Merosh mikedem nisucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshacha trila. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Bottom of that, hitoreri, Kivo areth kumi uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai Elai yathikla. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi b'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzohala, Tov emune am sigula, Boi kala. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi lekrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Page 27. Yitkara v'yitkara shemei Rabbah, V'yamad yivrach lirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechom u'v'yamechom, u'b'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala, u'vizman koriv, v'yimaru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach, Liolam liomei omaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitparah, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitada, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudasha, brichu, leila, min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bioma, v'yimaru, amen. And then, yeah. I'm sorry, page 28. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
That's okay.
We forgive you.
Baruch et Adonai Hambara. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. You can sit. Let's see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher b'davro ma'ariv aravim, b'chachmo b'osech she'orim, u'v'chtuvnash mishnat itim, u'mechaliv et hazmanim. Umasadir et hakochavim b'mishmotehem b'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla galel or mifnei choshech v'choshech mifnei or. Uma'avid yom u'mevi layla uma'avdil bein yom u'bein layla. Adonai tziva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu li'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Yeah. Page 28, English, please. Light and darkness. Somewhere in here is my light and darkness. Yeah. Can't find it in my book. Yeah. Oh, duh. We'll do the same thing. Light and darkness, night and day. We marvel at the mystery of stars. Twilight, high noon, dusk, and dawn. Though we are mortal, we are creation's crown. Grant steadfast love, compassion, grace. Sustain us, O God, our origin is dust. Resplendent skies, sunset, sunrise, the grandeur of creation lifts our lives. Top of 29. I'll take any help here, please. Ahavat olam b'yat Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shafenu uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach v'techa Lam v'ed ki hem chayenu v'yoref yomeinu Ubahem negev yom v'layla yom v'laya ve'ahavtach al tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisroel Ohev amo Yisroel. Shema, page 30. Shema Yisroel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Hashem Kevod Malichuto Li'olam V'abed V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha, uv'chol nafshecha, uv'chol miyadecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha. V'shinatam lefanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shiftecha b'veitecha, Uvelechtecha ba'derech, Ushavkecha uvkumecha, Ukishavtam liot al yodecha, V'hayu tatafot bein einecha, Ukishavtam al mizazot beitecha, uvisharecha. And page 31. 6 lines or whatever it is from the bottom there. Lema'an tizkaru va'atitem et kol mitvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeit le'etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 32. Mi kamocha. Excuse me. Mi kamocha ve'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh. Nora tehilot o sefer. Malachutecha ra'u banecha. Pokei hayom lifnei Moshe. Ze Eli anu v'amru Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'ne'emar ki pada Adonai et Yaakov v'ga'olo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai go'al Yisrael. Page 33. So I have some fun. Here's my note to the rabbi. I know what I'm doing, but I definitely won't remember how to start this song. How's that? So if someone wants to help, get me started here. Hash Yivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom. Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom. V'hamidenu malkeinu b'chayim. Now I don't feel so bad. V'tadenu ba'ot tova melefanecha v'hoshienu lematan shemecha v'hagen ba'adenu v'asir me'olenu. Oyev debre v'cherev v'ra'a b'merkon. V'hasir shaton b'lefanenu m'amartenu. Sorry. Umei acharenu. Upetzel kanefa. Wow. Kanefecha. Tastirenu. Ki el shamrenu umatzilenu atah. Ki el melachanun v'rachum atah. Ushamor tzeitlem uboenu l'kayim l'shalom be'atah v'yad olam. Uparosh alenu suvat shalomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, haparesh sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. My apologies. Well, as I feel like we're flying through this. We're at the Amida, believe it or not. So we rise to page 35b. Did I miss it? I missed it, huh? Oh, yeah. I apologize. Page 34. I apologize. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat v'toratem berit olam. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat v'toratem berit olam. Beini ubein b'nei Yisrael oti li'olam, oti li'olam, oti li'olam. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat le'toratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et Haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת תורתם בריתם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שמרו את בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת Tamberito. Now we have the Amida. Please rise, page 35b. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Velhei Avotenu. Come on, song. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi goel lifnei b'neihem lema'an shemo b'ahava melech ozer ufoked umoshia umogen baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ufoked Sarah atah gibor li'olam Adonai mechaye mitim atah rav lehoshia mechakel chayim b'chesed Mechaye metim berachamim rabim. So mef noflim verofei cholim. Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato. Lishenei afo. Mikamocha ba'al giverot. Umidol melach. Melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lechayot metim baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahavu chasela baruch atah Adonai El HaKadosh. Together. Oh, say shalom bimramav. Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru, Imru, Amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael.
Water break.
It's on my syllabus.
No.
We recall the loved ones whom death has, oh, nope, sorry, wrong one. Mishabera. Whatever the formal word should be, I guess we'd like to remember and hope everyone that's on this list is doing better and improving whatever they can do. I'll read the list from here, and then I'd like to reach out if anyone's got some people on their mind. Phyllis Burke, wife of Norm Burke. Perusa Budd, Rhonda Fleming's cousin's wife. Arthur Campbell, friend of Craig Barger. Tony Casella, father of Franny Spivak. Valerie Frank, friend of Craig Barger. Jonathan Gardner, grandson of Rona Slotnick. David Glazer, son of Amy Glazer. Justin Israel. Jay Kelly. Cheryl Leahy, sister of Mike Cohen. Nancy Mayer, sister-in-law of Joni Meyer. Tal Schechter. Albert Schechterman, stepbrother of Mary Schreiber. Michael Schreiber, son of Mary and Paul Schreiber. Cindy Sherman, daughter of Judy Romaine. Iris Sherman, daughter-in-law of Judy Romaine. Yonina Bat David Hakohen Vasera. Esther Bachayim Vagoli. If anyone's got someone that they're thinking of tonight, I'll start here. So as you know, we turn to the inside of the back cover. I'm sorry, thank you. Mishabera avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing, river fuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Page 148, please. Prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit, May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen. So, I want to take a moment. This is going to be my feeble devour attempt. Before I get into this, I want to point out something that you may find interesting. And I have to admit, in life you always have a teaching moment. So when I reached out to the rabbi, could you just coach me which parsha am I at? Because we all know that I'm good, but I'm not that good. So he ended up writing me a 2.5-page typed letter about last week. The parsha that you may have spoken about or not, I don't know what you folks did, was on Pinchas. And this falls in a situation where, because of falling on holidays, and that falls on a Saturday, it could be a joint parsha. But in this case, because it's, we're here in America, not in Israel, so we break it up, and Pinchas was last week, and Matot is this week. When I first thought it was going to be Pinchas, I was all excited because you read the notes about it. It was a really cool parsha. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know what you folks talked about. I'm sorry? All right, great. Well, there was some pretty cool stuff that happened in that parsha. Now this one, Matot, I have to be honest with you, this is brutal. I don't know how much you folks know about this. I'm gonna read it. And this is nothing that I would envision from the Jewish people. All right? So for any people that have done Bible study, they may know about this. And I admit, I don't remember this. Not at all. So we fast forward from Pinchas, where one of the things that you could gather I thought was pretty cool was, that was one part of it. There was a few parts where Moses was told by God that he's not going to go into Israel. And that he had to pick a successor, for which God gave him very explicit instructions how that was going to be, how it's going to be said, but he wanted it to be said that Moses portrayed it to the people that he highly recommends it. Even though it's really God's decision, he wanted to be, because Moses was the leader and the guy with all the clout, that the people would have more faith in believing their future moving forward. All right, so that was one pinnacle event. The other one was, some may remember part of this, and again, I apologize if you discussed this, is where the daughters appealed for their rights for their father, who was no longer alive, and that was granted that permission. And I'd say, if you want, I'd like to think this was the beginning of some women's rights, which was very cool. And as we all know, when you read through the Bible, it isn't so clear and good to women through a lot of this. And I thought that was pretty impressive. Now you get into this thing, and I'm going to just try to read a couple excerpts, and then get into the blood and guts of this. It's bad. It's real bad. And I'm sorry, but it's I just don't expect this. A lot of it has to do, the headline is the annulment of vows and oaths for people. And it was considered that you as an adult, if you make a vow or a commitment, you're going to stick to this, all the way. And this is not a joke, this is really serious. And if a woman's situation, that she made that vow, and if the husband doesn't acknowledge it, it doesn't have to be honored, but yet the husband can say, you have to do this. There was a lot of husband-wife stuff here, that, you can do this and you can't do that. And I know I'm being very vague, but there's pages of this, just with the vows and things like that, and the commitments. And I'm sorry that I'm not getting into that detail, because I hate to say it, I want to get into the tougher part of this. And that's, I'm telling you, this is bad. So, I'm not going to say it correctly. For some reason, and I apologize, I'm not that learned, there was a section where God wanted justice against the Mennonites. And it's like, you have to revenge the honor of God, and you're going to wipe these people out. You had to assign 1,000 people per tribe dedicated to go fight. So there's 12,000 people to go into this basically land and annihilate them. Annihilate them. Like, so it was like they go after and kill all the men. And when those soldiers came back, there was very strict orders about you can't come into the camp. There was a whole bunch of cleaning, and you know, you got to stay out there for your righteousness and all that. And that was the predecessor of where if you today sit Shiva for 7 days, that's where this comes from. You had to be out there 7 days before you could do it. And when you grab their spoils, their gold, their medals and all that, before that could come into the camp after, that all had to be heated through fire to try to purge and clean those items before that went back. Then there was where I blew me away, when Moses found out that they only killed the men, he was furious. Like, why didn't you kill their wives, the women and children? Because they also are part of the bad people with the revenge of the name of God. And I'm just reading this like, am I reading this right? I mean, this seems like so not the Jewish people to me. It just seems like we're on the attack here. There was a thing about if the woman was a virgin, they don't have to kill. But if the woman's not a virgin, she gets killed. All the male babies get killed. And I'm blown away. And again, I know I'm just skirting this right now because I don't want to believe it. And it's right here. And I can't wait to have a discussion with the rabbi when he comes back, because I admit, maybe some of you people do, I don't remember this parsha at all. I don't know if anybody does. No way. No way. And there was, you know, they talk about the hierarchy with, because Moses can't go, and all the people behind him that will go to the land. There were 2 tribes that said, you know, we have a lot of cattle and herd and all those type of animals. We're fine where we are. The land is lush, it's beautiful. We don't have to go any further to go on to Israel. We'd like to stay here with our tribe and all that. And that was like granted, with one exception, was that during this battle, the men had to leave those 2 groups, had to leave and go fight, and then when they came back, they could stay and move on with that. The last thing they go into, and very specifically about the bounty that they brought back, and they actually have numbers here of how many sheep, how many cattle, and things like that, of how it had to get divided up, like, and then 1/5 of that had to go to the, I'm not going to say this correctly, the religious guys off to the side that weren't in battle, and they got their share of the spoils. You had to give up 1/5 of whatever was divided up amongst everybody. That had to go to these people as well. And that's this chapter. And I don't know, I just find that tough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to keep looking that way. I apologize. So this is a pretty powerful section, and maybe I'd almost say if you have the blood and guts to explore it, go ahead and read it, because I'm telling you, this is brutal. So I'd like to move on with more happier things than this. But that's I don't know how to relate it to today, because I can't. On a personal level, I'd just like to make a statement. You know, we're getting into the closing chapter. I've done services a lot of times in my life here at our wonderful temple. Many, many years ago, I was in this exact situation where a colleague of mine, we started at the place where I work, we started together 1 month apart. That was 44 years ago. And no one should have to witness it with a child, but his oldest daughter was very, very ill, and the resolution was a heart transplant. This goes back 24 years ago, and you know, that was almost like the infancy of this type of technology, and I just want to say thank God today she's doing great. And I thought, gee, having this platform, I thought it'd be great to just mention, as we have in Misha Beirach and stuff, I just think that's wonderful. She's beating all the odds, because being a child, you know, they tell you that you probably won't have that same heart, because as you're growing, as your body grows, you transition out of that. And she probably will still need another one in her lifetime, but thank God she's doing okay. And then recently, another colleague of mine, daughter just came down with leukemia, and 19 years old, and she's at the Brigham's, and they're going through all their therapy, and she just got home today. She was a candidate for a transplant with her brother, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that hopefully all good there. And I told him that, I said, hey, you know, I know you're not Jewish, but if you're okay, I'd like to, you know, use my Jewish plug on this side to try to help Gabby. So it worked 24 years ago for one. I'd like to hope it works again for Gabby now. So I'm just taking advantage of my little platform here. Anyway, moving on. By the way, if anyone wants to see this write-up about the different pashas from the rabbi, come see me. It's, like I said, 2.5 pages of, now Mike, you're staying with me now because you have this, and then you have to, now Mike, stay with me in this. And I'm like, wow, he just, yeah, I guess so. It is amazing to read this thing. Okay, so we did all that. And Devar, so now I guess we go to concluding service, right? We're going to all rise for page 51, Elenu. Elenu Shabbat Ladon Hakol Vasek Gulon Celebration Shalom Asanu Kagoye Haraso Velo Samanu Kamitlakot Ladona Shalom Samto Kirikohem Vegor Elenu Kepo Amana Rana Tukorim Umishtacharim Umodim Lift their HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehuno Teshamayim V'yosei Haaretz U'moshe v'karov Hashamayim v'imah U'shtin atuzo V'gavim l'romi Hu Eloheinu Eino Em Elokeinu Efes U'ato Kagotu See? We recall the loved ones whose death had recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. We remember Christopher David Betts, son of Ben and Denise Kravitz, for whom we are still in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. and our congregational family remembers with special affection our loved one whose yahrzeit will have occur this coming week. Bob Landy, stepfather of Karen Levine. Albert Anastasio, father of Veronica Wiseman. Tanya Finkelstein, mother of Norman Finkelstein. Morris Spector, father of Steve Spector. Morris Brooker, father of Jeff Brooker. Harry Siegel, father of Michael Siegel. Ruth Westerman, mother of Mel Westerman. Hadley Flint, brother of Suzanne Payne. Morris Edelstein, father of Janet Sturman. Harvey Kulkowski, husband of Judy Romaine. Arlene Zelda Dichter Bloom, mother of Bob Dichter. Jacob Tillman, father of Randy Tillman. If you're remembering someone this evening, we invite you to say that person's name aloud now. If you are saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, we ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are in mourning and those remembering someone, we say Kaddish. Yist gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah v'yalmad divrach yiroteh v'yamlech malchuteh v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalah uzman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shma rabbah v'rach li'olam omeil maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbalah v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalol shmei dekudashah brichu Leila min kol birchasa v'shirasa, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yolmav v'yimru amen. Yehei shloma rabba min shemaya, v'chayim olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. And then we have, please be seated. Who's our lucky board person tonight? Perfect.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to TCS, where we value innovating education, building community, honoring individuality, drawing meaning from Judaism, and upholding our social responsibility. All of our programming, including the ones I will mention today, reflect these values. Tomorrow, there is no Saturday morning Torah study until August 20th. Havdalah service is at 7 p.m. Family Table is sponsored by the Jewish Family Services. Its mission is to alleviate hunger in our community in a way that meets nutritional and spiritual needs. Our temple is committed to collecting 30 cans of tuna fish and 30 cans of low-sodium vegetable soup each month. Please remember to bring your cans when you come to temple. There is a wooden container in the foyer for your canned goods. Remember, information and links to all activities are included in your weekly emails on Mondays, as well as special notices. Please remember to return your name badges to the drawers in the foyer before you leave the temple. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll be concluding on page 54 at Don Olam. And before we do that, I just want to say thanks for putting up with me tonight. I appreciate it. And I'm going to do it my way, right? Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivron, Li'ez Nasa, B'chef Sakol, Azai Melech Shemon Yikra Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kivlot HaKol, Levado Yemloch Nara Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifarach Adon Olam, V'hu Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivron, Li'et Nasa, B'chef Sakol, Azai Melech Shemon Yikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad V'yein Sheni, Laham Shelo Lahach Bira Adon Olam, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, V'lo Oz V'ham Yisra, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, B'chef Sakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzochev Li B'yetzara, Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi, Umanos Li, Menot Kasi B'yom Mikra, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, B'chef Sakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam. V'yeti shan v'ya'ira Adon Olam, v'im ruchli gaviyati, Adon Oli v'lo ira, Adon Olam, Adon Olam. Thank you. We're going to adjourn. It says here to the multi-purpose room, but I thought we were just doing it in the foyer, right? For Motzi and Kaddish. And I conclude, Rabbi, this is my syllabus. Thanks for your help.